Hello, everyone. My name is Christian Bird, and the project I am focusing on is Mississippi's social vulnerability. I believe it is important we understand our states and counties a little more to make sure that we are headed in the right direction when it comes to battling all forms of vulnerability. So let's talk about social vulnerability. What is it? Social vulnerability is defined as the susceptibility of social groups to the adverse impacts of natural hazards or disasters. Some social groups that are at risk for these include those over the age of 65, minorities, the unemployed, disabled, uninsured, single parent households. Lack of access to transportation is another. Troublesome housing. These are all numbers of factors that contribute to social vulnerability. So these are the types of things that make it extremely hard for a community to prevent the stress and pain in the event of a natural hazard or disaster. So this is just going to be a brief overview before I take you guys to the dashboard I created. I'm going to take a more of a focus at the unemployment, senior citizen, and minorities. So let's start with unemployment. This chart on the right is the unemployment rate for the state of Mississippi over the last 5 years. As you could tell, COVID right in the middle of that area before we had our lockdown, or right after the lockdown, about April of 2020, around that time. That was the largest surge of unemployment that we had, and it seems as if it's still been going up, but we're actually a little bit under the national average right now. Mississippi's unemployment rate sits at 3.3%. Harrison County and Jackson County have a high number of unemployed citizens, but that's expected with a larger population. We'll talk more about that on the dashboard. But there's new economic investments all across the state, especially along the coastal area. We have the Gulfport Aquarium that they're still continuing to build things, and I believe there's more to come in the next coming years, as well as Long Beach Harbor, Biloxi's brand new Veteran Avenue Pier. I don't believe they've broke ground on that yet, but they have broken ground on the Buc-ee's, so we cannot underestimate the power and potential that the Pass Christian Buc-ee's will have when it opens. And our senior citizens is another big group that is worrisome whenever it comes to natural disasters. Their health concerns can be very serious, and they're at high risk for hazards for many reasons. Because it can be quite troublesome for those who live in the area at a high risk of natural disaster, as they would in our three lower coastal counties in Jackson County, Harrison County, and Hancock County. Some families may choose to stick out a storm because moving their older family members or storm prepping could be dangerous, or, the circumstances could be extenuating. Some elderly may not even have family nearby to help them in time or complete whatever needs to be done in time for them to evacuate. So it can be a troublesome situation all around. Um, and then here we could look at some of the minorities. 41.2% of the total population in Mississippi are minorities. 37.8% are Black or African American. 3.6% are Hispanic or Latino. 1.2% are Asian. And, excuse me, 0.6% are American Indian or Alaskan Native. So let's head towards our dashboard. Hello, everybody, and this is my Mississippi County Information Dashboard. Have some social vulnerability information on here as well. There are 84 counties in the state of Mississippi, and these maps showcase the levels of social vulnerability respective to their populations within their own counties. Here are some quick facts about the state of Mississippi, courtesy of the United States Census Bureau. The median household income in 2021 for the state of Mississippi was $49,111. The percentage of people living in poverty in Mississippi is 19.1%. There are many census tracts in smaller areas within many counties in the state that have anywhere between 25 to 65% of the population living below the poverty line. You can see some of those extremes in Gulfport near the Island View Casino, and some of the areas in between Harrison County and Jackson County, typically by the Golden Nugget Casino and Resort. Uh, some of those census tracts near that area, beneath the highway and near Division Street, you could see some of those higher poverty lines. The median gross rent in Mississippi from 2021, or sorry, from 2017 to 2021 was $830. I'm going to go ahead and assume that that has increased at least $50 minimum. Also, there are a lot of rural areas in Mississippi. The average time to travel to work is 25.4 minutes. That's about roughly the exact time it would take me to get from my house to downtown Ocean Springs, and that's that's a pretty good drive. That's definitely some miles. Overall, Mississippi is considered a poor state. This becomes an issue when you factor in the risk of natural disasters. And it is important that we highlight these issues and the people that are living there, and at risk social groups in the state so that we can improve sustainability efforts along the Gulf Coast as well as the entire state. So, going ahead and looking at Mississippi's unemployment rates for all 84 counties, 26% of the counties in Mississippi have a higher unemployment rate than the national average at 3.9%. Excuse me. There are many rural areas in Mississippi, like I said before, but there is room for improvement considering how many counties have an unemployment rate well below the national average. Mississippi has, or 3.3% is the unemployment rate in Mississippi. I don't know if I said that earlier. Here, and let's go ahead and take a look at the minorities. So the ratio of minorities to the total population can be seen here. 30% of the counties in Mississippi have minorities as roughly half or more of their populations. And you can see that a majority of them are on the western side of Mississippi. Roughly 50% of the counties in Mississippi have minorities as 40% or more of their populations. And let's go ahead and take a look at the elderly population in Mississippi. Here we are. Okay, and this is pretty neat, but just over 1/5 of the counties in Mississippi have an elderly population that equates to roughly 20% of their county's population. Uh, it is important that we highlight these at risk groups so that we can make plans to improve our Gulf Coast and the state overall. If we can efficiently address these problems that keep our marginalized groups at risk, then we can reduce our overall social vulnerability. And let's go ahead and take a look at this. Here's some information I wanted to share with you guys. The points here in orange are the official high water marks for Hurricane Katrina from 2005. And although we don't know how accurate these points are, but nonetheless, they are interesting to see on a map. And these are definitely some places that I'm going to go and try and visit. The blue polygon that you see is the official inundation map for Hurricane Katrina. And it is also very similar to the official evacuation maps that you can go and find for the lower coastal counties. So the reason this is important to me is that this is going to be part of my thesis research. And with vegetation degradation and sea level rise causing our coastal lands to become more vulnerable, it is important that we learn about the effects that it can cause and those who are living nearby. My thesis will add context to this, as I will be trying to observe elevation differences between the digital elevation models that we currently have excuse me, for the state of Mississippi and the data that I collect along the Gulf Coast from Hancock to Jackson County. So some of these places here in Hancock, all the way from the Ainsley Parish, we're going to try and get as close as we can to the Louisiana state line. And it'll be very easy to get to the Alabama state line because of the Grand Bay Near. The Grand Bay National Wildlife Refuge is also known as the Grand Bay Near, and it is a reserve for Marines by the it's managed by the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources, and everybody does a lot of research down there. It is a very biodiverse ecosystem, and it supports endangered plant and animal species. And overall, that it's literally right on the edge of the Mississippi Alabama line, so that won't be hard getting some points and inundation marks for this side of Mississippi. Hancock will be a different story, but I'm excited to get some of that work done and ready to go. But thank you guys, and let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.